Hello, and welcome back to Mirrors. Last time, David met with the mysterious letter sender who turned out to be a gossip reporter named Connors. And now he and Susanna are going to meet with him again to hopefully clear some things up. I have had to record this dang video several times because the narration just keeps getting increasingly scuffed as I go on. Hopefully this time it'll go better. I'm not like a professional, but I am trying my best. The next morning, Connors came to pick them up. David, however, decided to take his car as a precaution. Connors told them that they would be going to the Red Lion restaurant in Salisbury. Before they left, Susanna said she forgot her purse and rushed back inside. She came back with her purse a few moments later and got into David's car. They took the M3 motorway and then pulled off into the A30 road for Salisbury. I have no idea if these highway names are correct. I've never been to Britain before. Any English viewers that may be watching in the comments, feel free to chime in. Salisbury is the home of the famous megalith ruins, Stonehenge, and it's also the name of a pretty good Uriah Heep album. But anyway, due to its fame, it is common to find sightseeing buses from London. I'd like to visit Stonehenge one day. Seems pretty cool. And that's all I have to say on that. The two cars arrived at the Red Lion restaurant shortly after noon. Connors glanced inside the restaurant, and then left to make a phone call. It would appear that there had been some kind of miscommunication. He was talking loudly, almost shouting. After he hung up, he approached David and Susanna. I thought they would be here already, but they're preparing to leave just now. We might as well have lunch. A waiter brought them to a table. I bet he had some urgent business to take care of. They never break their word once they give it. So what is this mysterious black square in the background? The photo is too low res for me to make it out. It's not like a flat screen because this takes place in the 80s, so I honestly have no idea what that could possibly be. Maybe a window? Anyway. What do they do for a living? We only know he's someone important. I kept thinking about it last night. I could barely sleep. They raised me after I lost my parents. I owe them a debt I can never repay. The least I can do is never break my promise to them. Sorry, I can't say anything. I couldn't believe this story either. That's why I sent that letter to David. Honestly, I didn't think he'd actually show up. I was surprised when David pretty much confirmed what that person told me. He saw the Devil King in his dreams. What if everything else is true as well? The thought alone gives me the shivers. Let me get this straight. While it's true the audience can get a bit rowdy during David's concerts, no one actually gets hurt. It's the opposite of what this person says. I'm aware. I am an entertainment reporter, after all. I suppose it's a good thing I never published that article in the end. During their lunch, a phone call came for Connors. He left the table to answer it, coming back shortly after. I'm terribly sorry, but it seems their car broke down, and they won't be able to make it here right away. They said they might be here this evening. What do you say? Well, we've waited this long. We might as well keep waiting. Let's take a room for the night, Susanna. Connors went back to the phone booth. David and Susanna reserved a room at the Cathedral Hotel, and then decided to visit Stonehenge. Connors would wait in the lobby, in case they contacted him again. There were few tourists at Stonehenge, as it was not the weekend. David was somewhat disappointed that the watchman would not let anyone inside the stone circle. Still, the view made him forget how tiring the tour was. He felt as if he and Susanna were on their honeymoon. The sun was setting, and all the other tourists had left. They returned to the parking lot, ready to go back to the hotel. David tried starting the car, but the engine would not start. Thinking the battery might be dead, David opened the hood, and a chill ran down his spine. Someone had torn out the wires. You know, the car wires. You know the ones that make the car go. Those wires. David and Susanna stood in front of the car, dumbfounded. The narrator waited patiently for the screen to finish loading.
I knew it was a setup. The King of the North lured us here to the stone circle.
It's getting dark. There's no houses nearby, and we're too far away to walk the way back. Damn that Connors, he was in on it!
We can't stay here. We have to go back to the hotel, even if we have to walk. We might cross a car along the way.
Just as they started walking, they noticed a car approaching them with the headlights turned off.
There's no way that's a tourist coming to see Stonehenge this late. It has to be Northern assassins. David, what should we do?
We'll never get away by running. Let's hide among the megaliths. David and Susanna entered the stone circle. They hid in the shadows of the megaliths. The car stopped at the end of the paved road, and 4 individuals wearing white robes got out. The 4 white shadows approached the megaliths. David and Susanna watched them, holding their breath. One of the shadows shouted towards the stone circle. David, the northern tribes have concluded that you have inherited the blood of the Devil King. You may not believe it, but we northern sorcerers can sense the dark waves that flow in your veins. Ask Susanna, the dark sorceress, and she will confirm our words. Of course, you have no time for that right now. You can ask her in hell. I feel like he might have practiced that line. Susanna, we have dealt with the dark sorcerers you contacted before you even reached Bristol. The King of the North shall be here soon to witness your death with his very eyes. You may consider these the last moments of your life. There was only one shadow in front of them. When David turned his head, he noticed that the other 3 had taken place at his left, right, and back.
A magical tetragon. David, we're trapped in the stone circle. The northern spell will prevent us from leaving.
So it's true? You're a sorceress? Why didn't you tell me?
Just like you've inherited the blood of the Devil King, I've inherited the blood of Susanna, who served King Hroth. The 2 of us are their descendants. You've never fallen in love with any woman other than me, have you? I've been in love with you since I was a child. You were always in my dreams. Nothing about this is weird or off-putting in the slightest. Don't think about it, it's fine. Before she passed away, my mother taught me the power of magic, and told me about the blood of the Devil King. That's why I've been trying to protect you from the King of the North, and why I killed your manager. Don't think about that either. But I guess you just can't fight fate.
So those pills you gave me for my nightmares.
They were made by dark sorcerers, yes. There are many who've inherited the blood of the original dark sorcerers, but only a few can be said to be truly powerful. We sorcerers can't hope to defeat the King of the North. But it would be easy for you if you were to awaken the power of your blood.
At that moment, they heard the sound of a car engine in the distance. Then, they noticed its headlights approaching. After looking towards the car, the white shadow in front of David shouted at him. The King of the North will cast a curse upon you. Though I have never witnessed it myself, it is said that the agony is unimaginable. This should be entertaining. The car approached the stone circle, stopping next to the car used by the northern sorcerers. For a while, nobody came out, as if waiting for something to happen. Eventually, the passenger door opened, and a man came out. The white shadow who was approaching the car stopped in his tracks. "You're not the King of the North. Are you a dark sorcerer?" The man put a hand in his suit and pulled out a gun, aiming it at the northern sorcerer. Susanna stared at the man, whose face was clearly illuminated by the car's headlights.
That's Clark, one of the detectives employed by the northern tribesmen. Driver's his assistant, Vince. Do the northern sorcerers not recognize him? This is our chance, David. The northern sorcerers are distracted, and the tetragon is broken. Let's get into the car.
Susanna pushed David, urging him to run. The white shadows at their sides chased after them. Noticing this, Clark pointed his gun at the robed men and pulled the trigger. The four shadows stopped. Clark kept aiming his gun at them. The lights of yet another car were approaching the site. Vince opened the rear door to let David and Susanna in. Clark fired his gun into the tires of the sorcerer's car, then jumped into his own car. Vince floored the pedal, and they left at a dangerously high speed. Almost colliding with the incoming car, they were able to get away from the megaliths of Stonehenge. So, who are those robed creeps, Susanna? They kinda looked like a bunch of white sorcerers.
Thank you for saving us. They were northern sorcerers. If it weren't for your timely intervention, they would have killed us with one of their curses.
This is some kind of war between northern and dark sorcerers. I bet my ass that other car we crossed carried more of them. Let me guess, it's all because of the Star of Darkness.
You must be really good detectives if you figured out that much. I must ask you not to delve any deeper than this if you care for your lives. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm telling you for your own safety. I'm really grateful for your help. I mean it.
And that stuff about David having inherited the blood of the Devil King has gotta be true. If you're a dark sorceress, I figure our client must be one of them northern fellas. By the way, the reporter, Connors, after his parents died, he was raised by the Archbishop of St. Radford's Church in Stratford. I'm Stratfordian born and raised, that's why he looked familiar. He was an altar boy at the church. His mysterious benefactor could be Archbishop Mellis.
Are you guys detectives? How do you know about Susanna? David, keep up, please. Mr. Clark and his friend have been following us since our tour of Europe. The client is most likely a northern tribesman. That's probably how the King of the North always knew where to find us. Why would two detectives at the service of the King of the North help us? Help us, even. Words are hard.
Believe it or not, it was a coincidence. We followed you to the stone circle, but you weren't doing anything weird, so we went back to the hotel to rest. That's when we saw a car stop in front of the hotel, and 3 men got out to talk with Connors, who then got in the car and left with them. It was already dark, and none of you guys were coming back. On a hunch, we came back to the stone circle, and we saw these white-robed weirdos. When I saw you guys trying to run away, I figured they were up to no good, so I threatened them with my gun. And then I started blasting them.
I'm actually a big fan of yours, so I recognized you right away. That's why I opened the door and waited in the car. I had no idea they really wanted to kill you.
I see. If you hadn't come, the curse of the King of the North would have killed us for sure. We owe you our lives. Could you take us to a car rental? They broke my car, and I really want to get out of here as soon as possible. It's safer to go to the police. Fat chance of that. We can be your witnesses.
The police will force us to stay and hide us somewhere, but the curse of the King of the North can be cast from a distance as long as he knows where we are. The police will never believe in the existence of sorcery, so they won't do anything about it. The only way to be safe is to escape the King of the North's notice.
A curse that can kill people sounds like hogwash to me. Everything about you guys is so weird. Nah, whatever. Let's find a rent-a-car. Even though Clark had been researching the Devil King for quite a while, he was still skeptical about the existence of magic. Clark's car stopped under the neon sign of a car rental. Well, here we are. I don't know much about the sorcery stuff, but take care of yourselves.
The King of the North will learn what happens soon. Now that you've helped us, your own lives could be in danger. It would be best if you left the UK for a while.
We're definitely done with this investigation. We'll hide our butts somewhere if we ever feel threatened. Have a good one. Weird thing to say, but alright. Clark and Vince drove off. David and Susanna rented a car and sped off towards London.
The northern tribesmen are actively going after us. I don't think it's safe to go back to your apartment. Why don't we head for Hayworth? That's where I was born. There are sorcerers there, old friends of my mother's. They will keep you safe.
We know that the King of the North is the Archbishop of St. Radford's Church. Instead of running, I think we should go talk to him.
David, he wants to kill you. He'll never listen to you. Unless you actually meant fighting him. So, what do we do? Do we go to Hayworth or fight him?
David's car stopped at a crossroad. He could take the road that led to Hayworth, or the one that led to Stratford. He weighed his options. Should he run away to the countryside of Hayworth, or take the fight to St. Radford's Church? Tonight we will indeed go to St. Radford's Church. What's the worst that could possibly happen? David took the A34 road, passing through Oxford, headed for Stratford. There were few other cars in the middle of the night, so his right foot floored the gas pedal most of the time.
Once we're in Stratford, we should drive along the River Avon. That will lead us right to St. Radford.
Driving like this doesn't feel real. It's like I'm in one of my nightmares.
Believe me, I wish it was only a nightmare. I had no idea the northern tribesmen would go that far. I was going to gather the other dark sorcerers in my household in Hayworth and come up with a plan to protect you.
I guess you really are a sorceress, huh? What sorts of magic can you do?
I can't cast killing curses like the King of the North does, but I can make all sorts of magical concoctions. I can also cast protective barriers and something similar to hypnotism, but I can't cast any offensive spells. Remember what King Hroth said. Only by laying your eyes on the blood of the northern tribes will the power of the Devil King awaken. If we want to survive, you must awaken the Devil King.
That's why we're going to Stratford. Still, I don't know if I can actually kill another man. They might kill me before I even get a chance.
I think I might be able to combine my sorcery with the power of the Devil King that flows in your veins. If I'm successful, we'll have a powerful weapon at our disposal. If I fail, well, at least we'll die together.
I think King Hroth is protecting us. If those detectives hadn't arrived before the King of the North, we would have died. I don't think it was a coincidence. The River Avon came into view. David drove his car upstream, with the river on his right. After a while, St. Radford's church was in sight. I'll get the car as close as I can. We need to hurry. People will get suspicious this late at night, and they might inform the Archbishop. David stopped his car near the church. St. Radford's church was located just outside Stratford. Being a small town, it would be unnatural for anyone to be walking around its premises. It was 3 a.m., and the period was missing in that sentence. David and Susanna took a deep breath and got out of the car. The church was in front of them.
If the Archbishop really is the King of the North, he shouldn't be back yet. If there's a good time to take a look around, this is it. Still, there could be northern tribesmen inside, waiting for their king to return.
We'll have to fight him sooner or later, so we should take a look. If there's anyone inside, we'll fight them, as long as we can take them. David tried pushing the front gate. Once he realized it was slightly ajar, he pushed it open and stepped inside. The chapel was illuminated by small lights. There was a door at the other side of the hall.
If the Archbishop really is the King of the North, there should be a sorcery altar around. I doubt he'd keep it out there in public, so it's probably in the basement.
They walked to the other door. It was not locked. They opened it and stepped inside. They found themselves in a dark, unlit corridor. David returned to the chapel to get a candle. Now with the source of light, they walked through the corridor. There might be a light switch somewhere. Then again, turning on the lights wouldn't be very inconspicuous. It's best to use a candle. They turned left at the end of the corridor. There was a door along the wall on their right. The corridor continued on. They opened the door and stepped inside.
There's papers and documents everywhere. This must be the office. The Archbishop's quarters would be more luxurious than this.
There might be a list of northern families somewhere. Let's take a look. David flicked through the papers by the candlelight, but he did not find anything useful. We'd have to look through these calmly, but there's no time for that. Let's leave. I have an idea. Sorry. They returned to the corridor and pressed on. As opposed to pressing off, the corridor turned right. The candle's feeble light did not reach far, and it was too dark to see what lied at the end. As they walked forward, they found another door on the right wall, this time with a more ornate design. The corridor continued on. I bet this is his... Let me try that again. I bet this is his room. Let's find out.
Wait, there's light leaking through the door. There might be someone inside.
David approached the door and focused his senses. I think it's empty. Let's go in. David opened the door. Got on the floor. Prepared to walk the dinosaur. I feel like I've already made that joke in a previous video. Sorry. I'm not always on my A game, what can I say?
What a gorgeous room. It has to be the Archbishop's. There's nobody inside.
The lights are on, so someone must have been in here until recently. There was no one in the chapel, so they might be somewhere further down the corridor.
I have a feeling there might be a hidden door that leads to the basement in this room. After all, this room is very private. Nobody would see him leave.
It's possible, but I don't see anything that looks like a hidden door. David and Susanna searched the room, but they were unable to find anything. We don't have much time. Let's move on. They left the room and went further down the corridor. They kept walking until the end, where they found a door.
This is the last one. If there's anyone in here, they must be beyond this door. Stay sharp.
David put his ear to the door, trying to sense the presence of other people. It's fine. I don't think there's anyone inside. He carefully opened the door. Stairs. This is the way to the basement.
It's completely dark. It doesn't seem like there's anyone down there.
David and Susanna walked down the stairs, lighting the way with the candle.
This is just a storage room. It's no place for an altar.
Guess we won't find anything in here. Let's go back. They walked up the stairs and returned to the corridor.
We didn't find any stairs to the second floor. I wonder if there's another door in the chapel.
I didn't notice one. Still, I'd like to check the Archbishop's room again. There has to be something we missed. There has to.
Agreed. If there's a convenient place for those sorcerers to go in and out unnoticed, it would be that room.
David and Susanna returned to the Archbishop's room.
Why don't we try pulling books from the bookcase? There might be a hidden lever.
They looked behind every single book, to no avail.
Wait. Look, the bookcase is moving. Someone's coming back. We have to hide before they find us.
Under the desk, quick! David and Susanna hid under the Archbishop's large desk. The bookcase moved sideways. Beyond it was a corridor. Excuse me. The passage was large enough to allow a single person to pass through. An old man, about 70 years old, came out of the passage. He put a finger somewhere on the wall inside the room, and the bookcase slid again to cover the way. Once he walked out of the room, he turned on the ceiling lights, which made the corridor bright. Then he closed the door. David and Susanna heard the sound of his footsteps moving away. Finally catching their breath, they crawled out from under the desk. They approached the wall that the old man had touched. There was a switch embedded in the wall. Let's go to the basement. I bet the altar is in there.
The altar might give us some hints as to what sort of magic they can cast. Let's go.
David patted the wall, looking for the switch. Eventually he found it, and the bookcase started sliding. David and Susanna went inside.
I knew it. There are stairs going down.
There has to be a different switch to close it, but there's no time to look for it now. They went down the stairs. Once they reached the end of the staircase, they saw a door at the end. David opened the door and stepped inside. David slumped to the floor, gripping his chest.
My heart! It feels like I'm being stabbed! David, are you okay?
Susanna saw the blood staining David's shirt, but there was no actual blade piercing him.
It's a northern curse. Hang in there, David. It's all getting blurry. Susanna, I'm done for. Go. Save yourself. I don't understand. I'm trying to return the spell, but I can't sense it at all.
Susanna looked around the room. There were no altars along the four walls. In the center of the room was a table, with a dagger planted in the middle.
It's the curse of the sorcerer's effigy. Hold on, David. I'll save you.
Susanna desperately tried to pull the dagger out of the table, but it would not budge. When she took a closer look, she realized that the dagger was planted on a picture of David, right in his heart. Every time she tried to move the dagger, David would writhe in pain. Eventually, David lay motionless in a pool of his own blood. As she looked at him in horror, several men came in the room. Among them was Connors, the entertainment reporter. I am Archbishop Mellis. You sorcerers know me as the King of the North. When I learned that David had inherited the blood of the Devil King, I had to get rid of him. Under normal circumstances, I would have spared your life, Susanna. However, I know that you are pregnant with his child. Thus, you must share his fate.
So you really were the King of the North. How did you know we'd be coming?
According to Lord Mellis, those men who helped you were detectives under our service. One of them was someone Lord Mellis knew very well. In fact, I remember him as well. It stands to reason that he'd tell you about us, so I called the church to prepare for your arrival. Opening the door to this room would activate the curse. Susanna, with your death, the blood of the Devil King will be severed, ushering in a peaceful world. This was never a battle between justice and evil. It was only ever a battle for revenge. I must kill you, that much is unavoidable. With that said, I am a servant of God. I shall pray for your souls, so that you and David may spend eternity together in heaven. Connors, there is no need to cast a killer curse upon her. Send her to God using your dagger. I would have liked to witness your great power in action, my lord, but I shall do as you say. Connors took out his dagger and approached Susanna. I want you to know this is nothing personal. I must follow his orders. Please don't hold it against me. The moment Connors raised his dagger, Susanna quickly pulled out the dagger from the table, launching herself at her executioner. The two daggers hit their marks at the same time. Both Connors and Susanna's hearts had been pierced. They collapsed next to David, their blood pouring onto the floor. No, Connors! Ugh. My act of kindness cost him his life. David? You're still alive? David, who had been thought to be dead, stood up, blood still pouring from his chest. You have underestimated the strength of my blood. Though faintly, David's heart is in fact still beating. My power was able to keep it alive, even under the influence of your sorceress effigy. King of the North. Through your naivety, I have witnessed the blood of Connors, a northern tribesman. As long as David's heart is beating, he shall awaken as the Devil King and cast eternal curses upon you. Still bleeding, David began to cast a spell aimed at the King of the North. blood began to gush out of the King of the North's face. At the sight of the bloodied face of their king, the northern sorcerers fled from the room in a panic. Blood kept gushing out of the King of the North's body. His robes were stained in the crimson liquid, and soon he was lying in a pool of his own blood. But once the King of the North had breathed his last, David also collapsed. In the basement of St. Radford's Church in Stratford, the ancient grudge between the Devil King and the King of the North had finally been dispelled from this world.